There we go. The business, March 13th business meeting of the Moore County Board of Education is called to order. Let the record reflect that Chair Levy is running late. He'll be here, he'll be joining us in closed session. We do have a quorum. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
And we're going into closed session for the reasons stated on the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The motion carries 6-0. We will go into closed session and we will reconvene at 5:30 for the public session.
Yay. Yay. Hey, Rich.
Hey, how are you? Can I have everyone's attention just real quick? Eyes on me. No, I'm just kidding. I know a lot of teacher friends out there. I just want to let you know we are just waiting on 2 students from Aberdeen Elementary School. They're going to do the inspiration pledge, and we feel that we need to wait for them to come because they're on their way. So that's our only holdup. So talk amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yes, carry on. Carry on.
Calling the School Board of Moore County Schools into session. First order of business is to approve the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor of approving the agenda say aye.
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 Okay, any opposed? Motion carries. The agenda is approved. At this point, I'd like to turn the matter over to Principal Dante Poole, who is going to introduce us to a couple of students of his who are going to give us both the Pledge of Allegiance and some inspiration.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board and all you great folks out there. It is my esteemed privilege to let you experience what I experience every day with these 3 students right here. Those of you who are teachers know exactly what I'm talking about. So coming to give the Pledge of Allegiance is Lily, AKA Vanilla Bean, Ms. Morales Francisco, followed by Mr. CJ, who's going to do our inspiration. Would y'all welcome them as they come?
Okay. Here, you got this. We got this. We got this. No, we don't. You go first.
Will you please stand to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Say your name.
Sorry. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all.
And now we have an inspiration, I believe, Mr. Poole, am I correct? Yes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christopher Payton, aka CJ, and I am the president of my schoolhouse, Mahalo, and at Aberdeen Elementary. Today, I'm going to share with you my inspiration. So, my inspiration is my principal, Mr. Poole, who is also a Mahalo. He is a very hardworking, loving, fun, and respectable person. He always makes sure each student feels important and has a great day. He keeps us in line while also making us laugh. He never skips a beat when it comes to us. Whether good or bad, he knows what to do. The way he has influenced my life, as well as others, will stick with us forever. The quote he says that impresses me the most is, "I am somebody, I was somebody when I came, I'll be a better somebody when I leave." I'm responsible for the education I get here. I have things to do, people to impress, and places to go. I am powerful, and I am strong, because I am somebody. So, with that, I would just like to say thank you, Mr. Poole, for the last 3 years of inspiration.
I told you, I told you!
And Mr. Poole, on behalf of the Board of Education, we join in. You are indeed an inspiration to all of our students, and maybe a lifesaver to me, but we'll discuss that later. All right. Okay, so at this point in time,
We're going to do a picture.
oh, okay, yes. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to turn it over to our vice chair for a moment of silence.
Before we have our moment of silence, Moore County Schools lost a member of our team this last week, so I would ask everyone to keep Miss Russell and her family in your thoughts. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hensley. Thank you, Ms. Caldwell.
Yes.
And thank you once again, Mr. Poole. At this point, Shannon Davis, I believe you're going to,
Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
okay, so, all right. So our recognitions will be done by Ken Benway, and those people who are called up, please join Mr. Caldwell, Ms. Caldwell, and Mr. Hensley to be recognized.
Lance Barber, Heather Bridges, Telia Sierri, and Catherine Holmes. Please join Board Vice Chair Hensley and Board Member Caldwell at the front. Mr. Barber, Mrs. Bridges, Mrs. Sherry, Mrs. Holmes, and Mrs. Toner, are this month's Engage, Inspire, Succeed certified staff honorees. They are a powerhouse team at West End Elementary. Individually, they serve the Warriors with grace and model true leadership in their respective areas of physical education, media, music, art, and guidance. However, collectively, this powerhouse team is the true backbone of West End Elementary. They work collaboratively as a team as well as with the grade-level staff to provide mentorship for students and extend the learning outside of the traditional classroom. The team designed and expertly implemented a PBIS reward opportunity for the whole school this fall. They often partner with community stakeholders for things such as book fair, our books and BBQ event, music concerts, art shows, and our multiple cultural fair, which they will be hosting this spring. West End Elementary is blessed to have such a dynamic team who are committed to serving each and every Warrior. With the members of the Barber, Bridges, Sherry, and Holmes families, and Principal Lokami, please stand and be recognized. Congratulations, honorees.
Congratulations, guys. Proud of you.
Charles Ingram, please join Board Vice Chair Hensley and Board Member Caldwell at the front. Charles Ingram is this month's Engage, Inspire, Succeed Support Staff honoree. Since beginning at Southern Pines Primary in 2020, Mr. Ingram has been a special part of our school family. Moving to Southern Pines Elementary School in 2021, he immediately became an invaluable member of the Stallion family. Mr. Ingram greets all staff and students with a smile each day and takes care of issues in our building before we can ask. He is detail-oriented and comes up with ways to make our building run smoother. As head custodian, Mr. Ingram is a quiet hero in our school. He takes care of things that no one else would dare and does so without a second thought. During his free time, Mr. Ingram is an avid golfer and loves to travel. This Richmond County native is the epitome of what a stellar employee looks like. Congratulations, Mr. Ingram, and thank you for all you do every day for the Stallions. Would members of the Ingram family and Principal Pratt please stand and be recognized? Congratulations, Charles. Elisa Kaiser, please join Board Vice Chair Hensley and Board Member Caldwell at the front. Elisa Kaiser is this month's Engage, Inspire, Succeed volunteer honoree. Mrs. Kaiser is the president of the Pinehurst Air Force JROTC Parents Group and has served in this role for the last 7 years. She coordinates necessary parental support of cadet activities to include Corps-wide family picnics, the family Thanksgiving potluck, the Corps 14-mile Bataan Memorial Trek, and other social functions. Mrs. Kaiser chaperones the senior cadets field trip to Washington, D.C., and the junior cadets field trip to Gettysburg National Battlefield. She plans all supporting activities for the annual military ball, as well as administers the Air Force JROTC Scholarship Fund and oversees the 50-50 raffle sales at football games to support the fund. Mrs. Kaiser runs the Air Force JROTC annual World's Finest Chocolate fundraiser, supporting deployed service members. In 2022, her efforts resulted in 317 cases of chocolate bars being sent to deployed service members, and over her tenure, the Corps has sent over 1,800 cases. Would members of the Kaiser family and Principal Phillips please stand and be recognized? Congratulations, Lisa. Jeremiah Bethune, please join Board Vice Chair Hensley and Board Member Caldwell at the front. Jeremiah Bethune is this month's Engage, Inspire, a Succeed student honoree. Jeremiah is the Pinecrest Air Force JROTC Corps Commander. He's responsible for all activities, policies, and practices associated with the program and the 118 cadets that comprise the Cadet Corps. Under his leadership, the Corps has accomplished 136 community service and leadership development events, accumulating 1,277 community service hours and 1,593 leadership development training hours. He planned, organized, and led the You Can Make a Difference food drive, supporting the Sand Hills branch of the food banks of Central and Eastern North Carolina, collecting 373 bags of non-perishable food items, totaling 5,029 pounds of food and 4,191 meals. Jeremiah is the recipient of the International Dedalian Award for Leadership, the Military Order of the Purple Heart Award, the Air Force JROTC Superior Performance Award, the Academic Ribbon, and other recognitions such as the Achievement Ribbon, the Good Conduct Ribbon, the Service Ribbon, and the Dress and Appearance Ribbon, to name a few. Would members of the Bethune family and Principal Phillips please stand and be recognized? Congratulations, Jeremiah.
Very proud of you. Congratulations.
This month, we have several additional recognitions. Christian Hackett and Nicholas Mastrolino, please join Board Vice Chair Hensley and Board Member Caldwell at the front. On February 10, Christian accomplished the first of his 4 goals, winning the North Carolina High School Athletic Association's High Jump State Championship. Christian jumped a mark of 6 feet 4 inches to come in first place, which was 2 inches higher than the second place finisher. We are extremely proud of you and congratulate you on this achievement. Your light shines so brightly, and we can't wait to see what's next. Nicholas Mastrolino won the North Carolina High School Athletic Association 3A 182-pound individual wrestling state championship. Nick finished the season with a 55-3 record and is just the second underclassman to win a state championship for Union Pines High School. Congratulations, and we wish you the best as you try to become a 2-time state champ. Would members of the Hackett and Mastrolino families and Principal McCormick please stand and be recognized? Daisy Clark, Lillian Hall, Alexis Pruitt, Alexis Taylor, Catherine Veervinden, and Elizabeth Wilson, please join Board Vice Chair Hensley and Board Member Caldwell at the front. The Pinecrest Girls Bowling Team were not only the Sand Hills Athletic Conference champions, but they also won the state 4A championship. The girls finished in the top 4 based on total pins of 558 among 12 teams competing for the state championship. This enabled the team to qualify for the semifinals against Pine Forest. The semifinals and finals were a best 2 out of 3 game series. Pinecrest defeated Pine Forest twice, winning the series 2-0. In the championship game, Purnell Sweat beat Pinecrest in the first game, but the team bounced back to win the next 2 games to become state champions. The final score was 167-134. Great job, girls, for exciting season, and go Patriots. Would members of the Clark, Hall, Pruitt, Taylor, Veervinden, and Wilson families and Principal Phillips please stand and be recognized?
Can we also give our congratulations to Coach Watson, the head coach?
Lisa Scott, please join Board Vice Chair Hensley and Board Member Caldwell at the front. Congratulations on your recent career achievement of completing the North Carolina Association School Business Officials Certified School Business Director Program. The certification requires completion of 36 courses with an assessment for each. The curriculum consists of courses in accounting, financial planning and budgeting, financial reporting and auditing, law and legal responsibilities, and business and personnel management. The NCA SBO Academy focus is to develop future school business leaders. Your accomplishment will help Moore County schools improve on the quality of school business procedures. You are truly a great asset to Moore County schools. Thank you for your commitment to exemplary work, and we celebrate your success. Congratulations, Lisa. Would administrators from McDeeds Creek and Pinehurst Elementary Schools please join Board Vice Chairman Hensley and Board Member Caldwell at the front.
You're good in math.
In all of 1922, you guys stand. This is for you. And McDeeds, I'm sorry, McDeeds as well. Stand up. Professional learning communities, PLCs, recognize the key to improved learning for students is ongoing, job-embedded learning for the adults who serve those students. The three big ideas of a PLC call upon educators to focus on learning, build a collaborative culture, and create a results orientation. Schools are recognized based on strict criteria, including demonstration of commitment to PLC concepts, implementation of these concepts for at least 3 years, and clear evidence of improved student learning over that period. Once measurable results can be seen, the school must explain its practices, structures, and culture and submit its application for consideration by the PLC Review Committee. McDeeds Creek Elementary and Pinehurst Elementary are two of only 3 state schools in the state and roughly 250 schools nationwide to earn this recognition. Congratulations to all Bulls and Dolphins on this remarkable achievement.
Thank you, especially on behalf of my grandchildren.
Of course, we love Carolyn.
That's so awesome. That's wonderful.
Look forward to seeing you later this week.
Yes.
Our school, there's been a school on our property since
So proud of
1922, so
you.
you're all this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you again for Pinehurst Elementary and McDeeds Creek for all of you guys showing up here and supporting each other. Good job.
At this time, I would like to turn it over to Superintendent Dr. Locklear, as he has a couple of people to recognize as well. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. Chairman, board members, it's my privilege, and as I like to say, I'm fired up to recognize a couple new additions to our administrative staff here in Moore County Schools who we're very fortunate to have joining our team and serving our students, staff, and community and parents. First, I'd like to ask Dr. Quinetta Pratt. Dr. Pratt, if you'd come stand beside me, please. I'm actually going to make you come up front here. We are really excited to be welcoming Dr. Pratt to our Moore County Schools community. Good evening, Dr. Pratt. Thank you for being here. I think also her children are with her tonight as well. So we're glad to be welcoming her and her children to the Moore County Schools community. Dr. Pratt comes to us with extensive experience. She began her time as principal of Southern Pines Elementary School in February, and we're so excited to have her leading Southern Pines Elementary School. She comes to us as being a successful principal at 2 other schools, as a district leader, and we're already seeing her impact at Southern Pines Elementary School. So I'm just so excited, and we're so fortunate to welcome you here to Moore County. and just want to welcome you and tell you how excited we are and looking forward to the impact you're going to make in our school district. Welcome, Dr. Pratt.
Welcome, honey. They made you walk up that step. You love this one.
Glad to have you, Dr. Pratt.
Now I'd like to ask Ms. Jamie Simon if she would please join me up front here. I'm also very excited and feel very fortunate to be able to welcome Ms. Simon to our Moore County Schools. Ms. Simon joins us as our new Executive Officer for Academics and Student Support Services in Moore County Schools. Ms. Simon was a successful principal in Scotland County, then served as their Executive Director of Student Support Services, and most recently as their Chief Academic Officer. Also, Moore County, she lives in Moore County, has a child at Southern Middle School, so we're just so excited to have Ms. Simon join our school district, and we're so excited to see the impact she's going to make on our students, staff, and community. So let's welcome Ms. Simon to Moore County Schools.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. That's so lucky.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. At this point, I'd like to call upon Principal Beavers to come up. We have a program, I believe.
Good evening, board members and visitors, and welcome to West Pine Elementary, everyone. We are excited to present our very own West Pine Elementary Soleil, hosted by one of our outstanding student leaders, Micah Monroe. Before I welcome Micah to the stage, I do want to take just a minute to recognize my assistant principal, Jamie Harris-Smith, who put all of this in motion and facilitated this and has worked really hard to get these students ready for tonight. So this will be a little different, but sit back, relax, and enjoy. And Micah, take it away.
Welcome to the West Pine Elementary Daytime Soleil. I'm your host, Micah Monroe. Get ready to enjoy a little bit of West Pine Elementary's arts at its best. It's important to know that we are Cubs. We carry out kindness.
Understand the differences of others.
And we are successful. I'm going to introduce you to the first actor of the evening. Please welcome to the stage, Jameson the Jokester.
I know you're here for serious business, but let your hair down for a few seconds. Are you ready? Knock, knock. Chicken. Chicken your pockets. I think your keys are there. Knock, knock. Mikey. Mikey won't fit through the keyhole. Hey-yo! Knock, knock. Lena. Lean a little closer and I will tell you. Knock, knock. Egg. Excited for another knock-knock joke? Who writes these jokes? Knock, knock. Goblin. Goblin, your food will give you a tummy ache.
Come on, we can do better than that. Jameson can be the next gentleman out.
We can do better than that.
Now welcome to the stage, Baby Bishops, and he will be singing the state song.
Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland,
Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Wyoming.
Hey, now what state are we from?
North Carolina.
Yay! I hope you enjoyed our West Pine Elementary Soleil. Please give a round to Eva Ferguson on the violin. Ella Ferguson on the piano. Sophia the master artist. Jameson the jokester. Hudson Bishop. Jillian the gymnast. And me, your host, Michael Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. And I'll just take a point of personal privilege to say that schools mean a lot of things, including and especially the arts. And I think what we saw was a wonderful demonstration of how the arts are doing in Moore County schools. Principal Beavers, thank you very much. Okay, at this point, we'll take a brief recess for about 5 minutes for anyone who wants to simply leave for the business, to exclude themselves from the business portion of the meeting.
No judgment.
But when you, okay. Calling the Board of Education back into order. At this point, I believe we have public speaking. Oh, strike that, I'm sorry. Yes. Yes, so we're going to go over to the consent agenda. All those in favor of the consent, okay. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The matter carries. Then at this point in time, yes. Yeah, I did want to recognize Shannon Davis, who is not here right now. She had a personal matter which she had to attend to. So she'll be listening to us on our live feed. Okay? At this point, let me go over to the personnel report. Is there a motion to approve
No,
the
we just did
personnel
that.
report?
We just did that. We're the public comment.
Okay, all right, well, all right. So then let's go ahead to the public comment. Mr. Hasley.
Good evening, everyone. We have 6 public speakers this evening. We start off with Mr. Vic Allen.
Good evening. I'm Vic Allen. I'm the shop teacher at Calvary Christian School, and I'm a member of Catherine Truitt's Parent Advisory Committee for the state of North Carolina Public Instruction. I'd like to say howdy to Mr. Levy. I thank you for being here. We sent an open prayer for you in the last school board that I was in, and we're so happy that you're back. And we're going to read from the first one is from Mark 29 to 31. And it says, and Jesus answered him, the first of all these commandments is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind and with all thy strength. It is the first commandment. And the second commandment is like namely this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. There is none other commandment that is greater than these. Then we're going to switch over here to Colossians 11, or 3-10. No, it's Colossians 1:15. Who is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of every creature? For by him were all things created that are in heaven and that are in the earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created by him and for him. Now I'd like to bring up, people are looking for the truth right now all over our country. The revivals in colleges, people are starting to go back to church. I know our church is getting new members every day. And there's 2 big issues that are approaching us right now that I think our students should be involved in. That's the abortion debate. And I'd like to know, when are the students taught when life begins? Are they taught this? I know they study evolution instead of creation. But when are they taught that? The next one is the legalization of medical marijuana. I think all teachers should be against that. I think they should raise their voice and make it known that we don't need that. Most of our young men are medicated. I don't know how many in the school system are medicated right now from mood-altering drugs. But I think the teachers and the school board should get serious about talking to their legislators and squash this right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Allen.
Miss Amy Dole.
Hope this works. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Good evening, members of the board, Chair Levy, Dr. Locklear. Last time I addressed you, it was as a Moore County teacher. Tonight I'm here as a Moore County resident and taxpayer, the parent of 2 graduates of Moore County schools, and someone who hopes that in future Moore County schools will be a good place for prospective grandchildren. I want to thank you for your initiative to hire more bus drivers. Students need to get to school in order to learn. I'm here tonight to urge you to also prioritize our teaching staff. It is well known that teachers are the most important school-related factor in student achievement. When it comes to teachers, what is best for students? 2 things: teachers who are effective and teachers who stay long-term and connect with the culture of the community. That's 2. What is worst for students? Turnover, unqualified teachers, and vacancies. Therefore, to best serve the children and families of Moore County, I ask you to make recruiting and retaining teachers one of your highest priorities. It's a tough environment. There's a shortage of teachers, so we have to compete. I'd like to illustrate the problem, the imbalance, using my own experience. What's it like in a school that needs teachers? In my department at Moore County High School, last spring, students had a long-term sub because there was no teacher. Students felt they did not learn anything, and the impact on their morale and self-confidence was obvious. Then they had me. I was debilitated with long COVID, but I taught because there was no one else. So following a year in which they had no teacher, the kids had an incapacitated teacher. They weren't happy with that either. During this time, our school hired several people who either quit within weeks or didn't measure up. Hiring qualified teachers is really hard right now. What's it like for a teacher who wants a job? When I decided I wanted to leave Moore County Schools, I sent a text message to a principal in another district. That's all it took to get a job offer. I did have to fill out an application, for the record. For a teacher, finding a job right now is a piece of cake. For a school, finding qualified teachers is really hard. To staff schools with great teachers, you need a deep applicant pool so you have choice. But in the current landscape, teachers have the power to choose. They can go anywhere they want. What's the solution? I believe it is to make teachers want to come to Moore County. That is, make Moore County schools a place teachers want to be. The things teachers seek in a job are known. I'm here tonight to urge you to make these things a priority. Schools are about the students and their futures, and the most important factor in students' futures that schools can control is the quality of their teachers. To supply students with great quality teachers, make teachers want to stay, and attract a deep pool of new applicants. I urge you to make this a priority in all of your decisions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Torrin Wright.
Who's this, David?
Torn,
I'm sorry.
Who's this?
torn, right?
Torrin Wright.
Right.
Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T.
My name is Torrin Wright, a retired teacher of Moore County Schools. Board Policy 5023, the board encourages all students to develop an understanding of citizenship. The curriculum will include character education instruction as required by General Statute 115C. Such instruction should address character traits including but not limited to courage, good judgment, integrity, kindness, perseverance, and respect. Policy 1419, Section B, number 4, board members should model civility and integrity to students, employees, and all elements of the community, all. And the board should comply with all board policies that set expectations for conduct, regardless of whether the policies expressly require compliance by the board, i.e. follow Policy 5023 yourselves. During last week's work session, your attorney suggested that effective leadership by the board can inspire the staff to do their best, and dysfunctional leadership can demoralize the staff and lead to a talent drain. To date, you continue to break board policy by allowing public speakers to chastise your staff by name during public comment sections of this meeting. Your willingness to cherry pick which policies you want to follow and the fact that you allow each other to defy good citizenship has created a perception that you are indeed a dysfunctional board. Last week during the work session, Mr. Levy said so-called liberals are nothing more than racists, and not one of you spoke up against that inappropriate statement. Why? Fear of retaliation? Plausible. Mr. Hensley continues to be quoted in the media making similar comments to Levy's, all of which go against Policy 5023. Their statements are not kind, they're not respectful, they lack integrity and good judgment, and they come across as idolatry. They also break Policy 1419, Section B, number 4, because they do not model civility to all elements of the community. So here's the rub. I know firsthand from experience that a very large percentage of your staff doesn't trust you as a board. You have demonstrated that you are willing to allow each other to break policies, and some of you lack integrity and good judgment. So why should your staff trust that you won't retaliate against them if they voice their concerns about your behavior or other important concerns to the board? It's clear that this is a perceived dysfunctional board that has a talent drain occurring amongst your staff. Step up, admit it. It started last year with Dr. Grimacey's retirement, the resignations of several central office employees, and also your previously long-standing board attorney. It's been printed that current staff members feel like retiring or resigning is the only way to voice their concerns without fear of retribution. I can relate. So I implore you to hold each other accountable, stand up for what's right, and start following your policies. Simply put, do better. There's too much at stake to carry on as you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you for your perspective, Mr. Wright.
Your next speaker.
Ms. Schaefer, Kate Schaefer. From Fast Lakeview PTA.
Yes, I'm Kate Schaefer, and I'm a member of the Vast Lakeview PTA, and we're just starting to plan how to replace our playground.
Pull your mic down.
Better? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Fast Lakeview Elementary School PTA, we're just starting to look how to replace our playground. We love Vast Lakeview, we love our principal, we love our staff. I did want to share that our entire structure is rusting through and needs to be replaced. One hole in one of the playground platforms is as big as my hand. And several areas have been boarded off and it's rusted through. We've had a company come out. It does not seem like it'll be repairable, would need to be replaced. And I spoke briefly to Dr. Locklear at the Military Family Advisory Council meeting last week, and I appreciated your time and interest, and I emailed you as promised. And at that same meeting, our military school liaison suggested I also bring our playground to the attention of the school board. So that's why I'm here tonight.
Here you are.
So I'm literally here to bring awareness to our school board and to ask for your help in getting our children a safe and modern playground set similar to those of the newer schools. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And,
Got that for action?
yes. No,
Mary Flynn, Ms. Flynn.
I know that Dr. Locklear's writing down notes on that.
Who was it? I'm sorry.
Mary Flynn, Ms. Flynn.
Well, Mr. Wright is a hard act to follow. I have not personally experienced what he says he has, and I actually would like to see more factual data than that, than he presented. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here actually to say thank you. Thank you, first of all, for hosting these meetings off-site. You may not see results immediately, but it will catch on. People will start coming more and more. I think it's very nice that you made it convenient for the public to come. I'd also like to thank you for restoring academic excellence to our school system. Recognizing valedictorians, wonderful. And what I'm seeing is that you're not I mean, this was a great also example of recognition tonight of the students and teachers and staff. But what I'm seeing also is that you are making it possible for underachievers to be successful The reading program that's about to start is exciting. I think it's going to be a very positive effect on our children's learning. I hope you're going to be doing something for math. I'll be in that one myself. The spelling bee, another thing that's good. I mean, I'm really in favor of anything that allows our students, regardless of their academic achievements, to be, to encourage public speaking. And that's what all those, the reading will encourage it, the spelling bee will encourage it. I'd also like to thank you for doing a reevaluation and drastically reducing the costs for renovating the gyms. And trying to think what else. I mean, you guys have done a lot of things that I think are great. And I just wanted to thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just as an administrative note, we're just getting started. One last person who said she may or may not speak, and that's Ms. Kemp, Judy Kemp. So I guess that's a not going to speak. Mr. Chair, that is all the speakers for today.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hesley. So we're going to go ahead and move on. We're going to move on to action, to item A, which is the endorsement of the testing and administration plan. Is there any discussion on that? Do I hear a motion to approve it?
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Okay, next I'll turn it over to Dr. Locklear and his administration for the purchase of maintenance vehicles.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Purvis presented on this topic at our work session about the need to replace some maintenance vehicles. 4 vehicles, 2 trucks and 2 vans, I believe, Ms. Purvis.
Yes, sir.
I have an estimated cost there on that executive summary.
$246,162.
Thank you, Ms. Purvis. I didn't have the right executive summary in front of me. And I do recommend that we move forward with this purchase of maintenance, really sorely needed maintenance replacement vehicles. Thank you.
Okay, is there any discussion? Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion to approve the maintenance of vehicles as recommended by the superintendent. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those, yes. Oh, you have some discussion, go ahead. I apologize.
So we covered this in the work session. I just want to, since this is the public meeting, I want to cover some highlights.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Purvis. So for those of you all that don't know, Ms. Purvis is our new operations person. Ms. Purvis came here, took over Director of Operations in January. 8 weeks now.
Yes, sir.
Came here as principal from Northmore, go Mustangs. And we covered a lot of this in the work session. I just want to make sure everybody, so it's been about a decade or so since Moore County Schools has done proper management of their fleet, correct?
Yes, sir. We actually don't have a fleet management plan, but we're working on one for you. The last vehicle purchase for maintenance was 2017.
Okay, so Moore County Schools had not purchased any new vehicles outside of buses since 2017. So our maintenance vehicles, our driver's ed vehicles, and
No, sir, that would be just the maintenance fleet. We have purchased a driver's ed vehicle more recently, but the whole entire fleet is in desperate need,
Right,
well
right.
over in
Yeah.
mileage.
as it says here in the summary, some of these vehicles have over 300,000 miles on them. 59% of the fleet has over 200,000 miles, and 71% of the fleet has 150,000 miles. And this particular motion is for our maintenance vehicles, but in conjunction with this, you are also replacing driver's ed vehicles, but since it's under the $50,000 apiece threshold, we're taking those out of Hyde.
Yes, sir. The numbers you see here reflect the maintenance fleet. We will be purchasing 2 driver's ed vehicles as well as 1 IT vehicle.
Okay, and just real quick, approximately how many driver's ed vehicles do we have?
Right now, we have about 10 in the fleet.
Okay, so we're gonna start getting these in rotation and
Correct.
replacing them. Like you said, you're gonna come up with a fleet management plan.
Correct.
You know, it's a shame Mr. Wright left because, you know, he had nothing but bad things to say about this board, when in fact this board is circling around and doing things like developing fleet management programs and whatnot for vehicles that have been ignored, once again, for 5 years or longer. So this is awesome. This contributes to our operational excellence.
Okay, anything further? Yeah, I believe we have the motion on the table, am I correct, counsel?
Yes.
Okay, and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay. Now we have the approval of the gym renovations.
Yes, sir.
You got, somebody got $6 million, you want to say?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am going to ask Ms. Purvis, since we didn't have the opportunity to review this at the board's work session, to just briefly go over the revised scope of work, and then of these gym renovation projects at Westmore, Cameron, and High Falls Elementary Schools. And I think the best document, maybe, Ms. Purvis, for you to review that is that summary document that's linked to the executive summary.
Correct.
And then once Ms. Purvis has the opportunity to do that, you know, Mr. Hensley does chair our Construction and Facilities Committee, and I'm sure he'll have some things to share as well. But if it's okay with you, Mr. Chairman, I'll have Ms.
Yes,
Purvis
yes.
review that. Okay. Ms. Purvis?
Yes, just to give an overview, our Construction and Facilities Committee met with SFL&A Architects on January 27th to review the scope of work. After that meeting, the architects were tasked with revising that scope of work. We met again, the committee did, on February 27th, where they presented a revised scope of work which was aligned with board requests and priorities. The cost of the revisions to the original scope of work was completed by SFL&A and at a cost of $25,000, which was approved by our superintendent. If we'll take a quick glance at the summary, you'll see the original scope of work. We'll start with Cameron Gymnasium. The original scope of work was $2.85 million. The new scope of work, which included roof, fascia, flashing, gutters, downspouts, adding air condition to the gym, a single-use accessible toilet, and relocating the concession stand, came in at $880,000. That was a savings of $1.97 million. If you so choose, the board we discussed the demolition of the steam heating system and the addition of new HVAC there. That would be an additional price of $325,000 added to that $880,000. If you were to choose to do the additional alternate, you would still have a savings of $1.645 million for the Cameron Gym. If we take a look at High Falls, the original scope of work was $2.8 million. The new scope of work, $530,000. That's replacing and repairing the low roof over the toilets, the fascia, the flashing, the wood decking, adding new gutters and downspouts, upgrading the electrical system, adding air condition to the gym, repairing the rough openings, and adding an accessible stall to the existing toilets. The savings with the new scope of work is $2.3 million. If you were to add the alternate, which is also the demolition of the steam heat and adding new HVAC, which would be heat in addition to the air there, that would be an additional $173,000. The savings there with the alternates would be $2.1 million. Lastly, we have Westmore Elementary School with the original scope of work at $2.8 million. The new scope of work includes roof repair. No roof or repair is needed at this time. We would upgrade the electrical system, add air condition to the gym, and replace the windows at a savings of $2.3 million. If you choose to demo the steam heat there and add the new HVAC, that would be an additional $128,000, and you'd still have a savings of $2.2 million. Total for all the gyms, not including any alternates, would be $1,835,000. That would be a savings of $6,673,000 And then a total for all of the gyms, if you include demoing the steam heat and doing HVAC, would be $2,461,000, with still a savings with those alternates included of $6,047,600.
Thank you.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Just going to say, we're open to any questions that you may have. I know Mr. Henson may want to share some information or thoughts from the committee discussion.
I do. I have some thoughts and discussion, but first, anyone else want to go first?
Can they just scroll? I just want to see the Cameron one again. I couldn't see it. There it is. Thank you.
The Cameron, just real quick, the Cameron one's more expensive because it does require a roof replacement. It's got a flat roof, which is expensive to replace. I have a couple of questions before I make a motion. What's the lead time? So, in our committee meeting, we discussed lead times, and specifically the barge units, the very specific air conditioners that are proposed for this. Those have a lead time. Any clarity on what the lead time to get the construction work started on this?
Well, right now, if the board so approves this tonight, we're looking at revising the drawings, getting those completed and turned back into DPI. That would be about 4 to 6 weeks turnaround. That would put us at May 15th for an advertisement of bids and a bid date of June 5th or June 12th. So we'd look at, hopefully getting started on something July or August. The BARD unit lead time right now is looking at about 20 weeks, but we would push on that to see if we can't do better.
Okay. I make a motion that, that we approve the scope of work as listed with the optional, and I will define the optional things here in a minute, although Ms. Purvis did a good job. So my motion is that we approve the scope of work, the revised scope of work as we proposed, to include the alternatives for a total cost or proposed cost of $2,461,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second, okay. Discussion. I figured there would be
Yeah, I have
some
a couple,
discussion.
I have a couple discussion items.
Including a victory lap.
So let's talk about this for a minute. So the previous board had passed $8.1 million. The original scope of work on these 3 gyms was $8.1 million. We revised the scope of work, and what we're going to vote on is a scope of work that is $2.4 million, or a 70% savings. Let me say that again. The original quotes were $8.4 million. The revised scope of work is $2.4 million for a total savings of 70%, or $6 million. We requoted another project, and we had a similar savings, and that was numerous flat roofs throughout Moore County schools. I think there were 6 or 8 of them, and we saved, again, 70% off of what the previous scope of work and the previous quotes were. We are going through, and we are going to have requoted all the projects that were approved by the previous school board, but work has not yet been started. We're going to requote those and see, we're hopeful for savings. 70% was much larger than what we expected. What are we going to do with this 70% savings? So in these 3 gyms, we saved $6 million. In our other various roofing projects, we saved 70%, or that came out to $1 million. It is my hopes that we are going to, with that, just the savings from these 2 projects, we're going to renovate 2 more gyms and get rid of trailers in an entire school. And that's looking like it'll probably be Cranes Creek. It'll be a school that has trailers that's not built out to our core capacity. But Ms. Purvis and her team are already working on that. I assume you're working on that.
Yes, sir, we are.
As we are getting quotes, and you'll note that these 3 gyms, 2 of them, from the original quote of $2.8 million, 2 of them came in around, what do I see there, 150,000, 180,000. One of them came in at $1 million. If the other two gyms come in at the low end of this, then we will have enough money left over. This is real savings. We're gonna get 5 gyms done, plus get an entire school, build brick and mortar seating capacity for 200 students for what the previous board was going to spend on 3 gyms. So this is real savings brought to you by a central office and a school board that's focused on getting good value for the taxpayers' money.
Okay, let me also say briefly, you know, David, you and I are friends. Many times we disagree, but that's okay. But this is a yeoman's job. This is Mr. Hensley's initiative. We're winding up saving roughly $6 million, whatever we're talking about. We can't let go of the fact that Ms. Purvis also is a big part of this. She's been here a very, very short, well, you've been with Moore County Schools many, many years.
Correct.
But in this position, only for a short period of time. It was several years ago that we used to say, we're not just going to rubber stamp any administrators or anything like that. And so, David especially, you said, we can look into this. I think maybe we could save some money. And it was a yeoman's job, and for that, I think you should be congratulated. If my voice lasts a little bit, let's move. Is there any further talk? Okay. Yes.
I have an oversight. There's one thing I meant to ask, and I apologize. I had it highlighted here, but I forgot. So I noticed that in the alternatives, you did not include the windows.
The windows are included in the price.
Okay.
So windows are included in Westmore and High Falls.
Right, and Cameron doesn't have any windows. Okay,
Correct.
I just want to make sure, and just for clarification, I want everyone to understand what we're getting for the $2.4 million. So we are getting HVAC in the 3 gyms, Cameron Elementary, High Falls, and Westmore. In addition, we are eliminating steam heat on all 3 campuses. Steam heat belongs on Navy ships and antiquated Marine Corps bases. We are getting rid of steam heat on these 3 campuses in Moore County schools. In addition to putting HVAC in all 3 gyms and new double pane energy efficient windows in the 2 gyms that have windows, and eliminating steam, we're also putting HVAC in Cameron. We're putting HVAC in the auxiliary building and cafeteria. In High Falls, we are putting HVAC in the cafeteria and the bathrooms. And in, I'm sorry, I had that backwards. In Westmore, yeah, anyway, we are also putting HVAC in auxiliary buildings, locker rooms, and cafeterias.
That's correct.
Okay. Anything further? If not, we'll move to a vote.
Mr. Chair, just for,
Yes.
For clarification
Yes.
on that motion, the motion is to approve, and Mr. Hensley, I want to restate your motion just to be clear on one thing. The motion was to approve the scope of work with all the listed alternatives at an estimated cost, but not intended as a cost cap of $2.461
Correct.
million.
Yes.
Correct? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, we have the meeting schedule. A change in a request to change the Board of Education meeting schedule. First, I'm going to turn to Dr. Locklear.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the board's work session, the board discussed, this was an item that Mr. Hensley brought to the board's attention for discussion, was to look at what was required in a Board of Education by the state for their meeting schedule, and then the potential of reducing the number of meetings the board currently meets and has, which is a minimum of 2 a month, and we know we have other meetings, other special called sessions, et cetera. And the law requires that the board meets All local boards of education shall meet on the first Monday in January, April, July, and October of each year, or as soon thereafter as practical. And the board may elect to hold regular monthly meetings and to meet in special session upon the call of the chairman or the secretary as often as the school business of the local school administrative unit may require. If, as expressed at our work session, if the board chose to alter your schedule moving forward, there would be no need to change any board policy. We would just need to notify the public at least 7 days ahead of that alternate schedule and keep that posted and on file in the superintendent's office. One thing we also discussed was I offered to bring a draft of what an alternate schedule may look like for the board. And again, this is intended only for discussion purposes. You know, I expressed at the work session I have some hesitation for moving away from meeting every month, but I'm certainly open-minded to trying it and trying to put pen to paper, so to speak, on what a proposed schedule might look like. And so that's what's attached to the executive summary. I believe, Sandy, we have a hard copy in front of the board as well. And if we can pull that up, thank you, Heather. And so, if approved, this alternate schedule that you have in front of you includes anticipated special call meeting dates, potential special call meeting dates that would be on your calendar. And those would be for purposes of personnel action or to take timely action on the business needs of the district. This schedule also proposes for the regular meetings that we have work session meetings 2 weeks ahead of the regular meeting, of most regular business meetings. And these work session meetings would allow and permit the board to take action if there was a business need for the school district. So we could take action at business work sessions if we needed to. If the board approved this schedule, of course, I would work with our interim director for communications to communicate this broadly across multiple mediums. So it would be anticipated, as I think Mr. Hensley discussed, beginning this in the summer going into the next year. So what you see in front of you is a chart that simply I'm just trying to lay out, try to get feedback from the senior team, and lay out when we would be meeting each month. Would we have a work session? Would we have a regular business meeting? And potentially special call meeting dates. July, we already have on our schedule a combined business and regular business, combined work session, regular business meeting with July 10th. So that wouldn't change in this draft. In August, there will not be a work session, will not be a regular business meeting, but we would have a potential need for an anticipated special call meeting, and that most likely would be for personnel purposes, to approve personnel going into the school year. That would be on August 21st. And forgive me, but I think it helps for me to walk through this. So
Yes, please do.
Yes, it's
so
confusing.
in August, again, so that would be the one meeting in August and September. There would be a work session going ahead of the regular business meeting in October, September 18th in September. So that would be the one meeting in September. That's 2 weeks ahead of what the law requires that you meet that first Monday in October. So that's that closest date to that, October 2nd. You also may recall that in October is also the time frame that we talk about school improvement plans. So there's 2 special call meetings proposed in October to take a look at our school improvement plans. One of those dates would be specifically for any low-performing schools that we still have in Moore County schools. Certainly, we're hopeful and optimistic that number will go down, if not eliminated. And so you have those 2 dates of October 23rd for potential low-performing schools and October 30th for the other schools that are up for renewal. We then go into November. There's no work session in this draft, no regular business meeting, but there is a potential special called meeting on November 20th. This will be for any time-sensitive business needs and personnel action of the board. Then the board policy requires that the board meet the first Monday in December for an organizational meeting. And so that meeting is there on December 4th in December. That would be for purposes for an organizational meeting, and of course, it doesn't limit. You can take any actions that you need to take at that meeting. State law then requires that you meet at the first Monday in January or close thereafter as you can, proposing that the board have a work session on January 8th and a regular meeting on January 22nd. We then roll into February. No work session meeting in February, no regular business meeting in February, but I do recommend, would recommend and know that we would need a special call meeting for discussion of the budget. Because as you know, we're right in the midst of that right now in February, March, and April, and we would need that opportunity to share some foundational information with you like we did this year. We then go into March, and this draft, no scheduled work session, no scheduled regular business meeting, but another special call meeting again for my presentation of the proposed budget for the next fiscal year, and of course can take any actions that the board may need. In April, which is required by state law to meet in April, proposing that a work session would be on April 2nd, and then a regular business meeting on April 15th, and that would be the meeting that you'd be approving your budget for the next fiscal year. Going to May, no work session date in May, no regular business meeting in May, but I do have an anticipation of needing a special called session for potential business needs and personnel action. We go into June. We would recommend a work session on June 3rd, regular business meeting on June 17th, and then back to July where we'd have a combined work session and regular business meeting on July 15th. So this is, again, a draft schedule for your review and to any discussion that you want to have. As I said earlier, I have some hesitation about moving away from meeting on a monthly basis. This does give us somewhat of a monthly schedule, but it reduces the number of meetings to 17 from what we're somewhere around 26, 27 meetings this year. This reduces it by about 10 meetings. So I'm happy to discuss any questions you may have for me and hand this back over, I think, to Mr. Hensley, chair, if that suits you, because he brought this item to work session.
Go ahead.
Well, we certainly talked about this during the work sessions. Anybody have any thoughts?
Are there any other school districts doing this, or is it just us, potentially?
I haven't done that research. I'm not aware of school districts meeting quarterly, just quarterly, or every other month, but I have not done a deep dive research, Mr. Holmes. Mr. Schwartz is familiar with some school districts across the state. I don't know if you've got any feedback, Mr. Schwartz.
You meet a lot more frequently than a lot of school boards. There are not that many boards that have 2 meetings a month scheduled, and then all the extra meetings that you pepper in there for various needs, the budget, school improvement plans, and so on. I would suggest to you on this schedule that the December 4, 2023 meeting should be moved to a regular board meeting date because you're going to be taking action on the organization of the board at that time.
My question too was, when you talked to your senior staff, what was their thoughts on this?
I think they share my thoughts of some concern of not having that monthly rhythm of business. This does somewhat continue to have that. You know, and we discussed, like I said last week, we would have to really be very disciplined in planning things ahead as best possible. But, you know, you can't always do that. There will be needs with lessening our meetings where we'd have to call a special called session to potentially take action on some business that we need to take action on. But, you know, that was the feedback from the staff. Sure, there are potential reduce of demands of having to meet twice a month. There's some positives with that, of kind of backing off of that a little bit. But you also have to be very forward-thinking. So there's a discipline that goes with that.
Let me ask, as you were presenting it, it seems that this can only be implemented starting approximately February 2024. Am I incorrect? In other words, when I listen to all the meetings either that we must have or we need to have, it seems to me that these are meetings which have already been scheduled for the most part. And that the first, I guess, skipping of a meeting is February 2024. Or am I incorrect?
Based on this draft, the board, we would begin to have if the board approved it, the schedule would begin to be altered in August of 2023 because of backing off the current schedule, which has those 2 meetings a month. So August would be the first month there would be a change, and I'm looking at Cindy because she's the keeper of all schedules. So, but August, I believe, would be the first month we'd see that change, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I have a comment, but I'll go back to Mr. Hensley.
I have a few points I'd like to go through, most of which I made during the work session. The first thing is, the school board is an oversight board, not a current operations cell. And if you look at boards in the public sector, or you look at the Board of Health, the Board of Health in Moore County used to have monthly meetings, and they just changed to every other month meetings. Likewise, most private boards of board of directors meet quarterly at the very most. Many just meet twice a year. So it is not uncommon, having an oversight board meet 27 weeks out of 52 weeks is not an oversight board. That is something else. It's not giving broad general guidance and providing oversight. So somewhere, and as I pointed out in the work session, as the superintendent pointed out, the state law, when the General Assembly established school boards or the parameters around school boards, they made meetings 4 times a year. The requirement was 4 times a year. And somehow that morphed from having meetings quarterly to most school districts having them monthly to Moore County schools having them twice a month. And that comes at a cost. And the biggest cost that it comes at is management time. And although Dr. Locklear minimized it a bit, I'm very concerned as an executive myself on the time requirements, the demands that preparing for these board meetings and conducting these board meetings, for example, all-day work sessions, and the amount of time that it takes from our senior executive, our senior staff, and other people who prepare. This facility did not come without preparation. So, we thank Ms. Beavers and her team, but, all of this takes time, whether it happens in our boardroom or happens at a school. So part of reducing the meetings is reducing the amount of overhead and management time it takes. We do have committees. The committees need to be adjusted a little bit now that we've got some experience with them, but the committee is taking up a lot of the business that the board would normally do in open session, so that reduces it. And also, I've often thought that it's a good measure of success of a well-run company is they don't have to have a lot of meetings because they have good standard operating procedures. The board of directors and the senior management has defined measures of effectiveness, many of which are embedded in our strategic plan. And then, we review performance metrics based upon those measures of effectiveness. So I'm in support of this. This is the first time that this board has actually seen a proposed schedule, so I don't mind if we table this, for next month, and we get time to think about it and talk it over, amongst ourselves, or think about it individually without violating open meetings laws, but, to discuss it, one-on-one, or discuss any concerns we have with the superintendent, or think it through ourselves.
Okay. Of course, I do disagree with this whole idea. I do believe that, I can only speak for myself. I ran on the idea of transparency. And we ran on the idea that we would be having as many meetings as possible throughout the district. And that was very, very important to me. We seem to be in a fairly good rhythm. But what really happens is that when you reduce our meetings, we reduce our oversight. And by the way, it was this ability to get into this oversight that I think helped us with the gyms and saving so much money. I believe that the people deserve to have open meetings. I believe they deserve to have answers to the questions. I believe the people should be able to come out here once a month and say, I don't like Mr. Levy. They should be able to say, I think he's done terrible things, or maybe he's done good things. I don't know. But I do believe that our current schedule and our current rhythm is doing well for this district. And I would rather not change that. That being said, Mr. Hensley, you can make a motion to table should you wish.
Does anyone else have any thoughts?
Yeah, I would agree to maybe table this, just so, because now that I see that, the agenda meeting, just to kind of think about it, and table it till next, and that way the public can kind of digest it as well.
Yeah, because if you look at this schedule, right, some of those are kind of fillers. This is
Right.
just my initial impression of these. There's a couple anticipated special called meetings that Dr. Locklear, it appears, put in there just based upon timing. There's some personnel action that, happened right at the beginning of the school year. Some of those are meetings that we would have otherwise, even if we had 24 regular meetings a year, because, we would always have those 2 meetings in October for the school improvement plans. So what you see in front of you, and I think if we take time over the next, 3 weeks and digest this before the next work session where we can discuss it in more detail, you're going to realize that some of those anticipated special called meetings would happen in addition to our 24 business and work session meetings, and some of those are kind of fill-ins for those.
And not to mention our committee meetings too. So now that we're on committee meetings, we have those at least twice, sometimes more than that a month.
Well, they're getting started. There's a
Yeah,
few,
they're
let's
getting
just put
started.
it that
There's a
way.
lot
All right,
right
but
now.
I do hope we will think about our pledge to transparency with the public. Yes, our committee meetings, we have them, are open to the public. They always are. And that everyone should know that. But they are generally at hours and at times where the public is not likely to be here. And I think if we just look at the situation that we had recently with Cranes Creek, we needed immediate work on that, which we did, and it fell into our regular rhythm. As a matter of fact, I don't know of an emergency special called meeting that we've had since I've been on the board. So I think it's important that we sort of gave, we gave the people a deal that we'd be here once a month. And I think that's a promise that I would hope to keep to the people of Moore County. Do you wish to move to table?
I'll move to table.
Okay. Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
I did.
Philip,
Philip.
table? Second was?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We got, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Carries.
And that's until the next work session,
That's
right?
correct.
We'll discuss it in the next work session.
And maybe.
By the way, Dr. Locklear, thanks for your job on this matrix. It's a
Yes,
good-
sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, how about a spelling bee? Anybody want a spelling bee? Dr. Locklear.
Yes, sir. Dr. Metcalf and team shared some background information and current academic competitions and kind of the timeline it would look like to bring the spelling bee back. As you see from my recommendation and what we discussed at the work session, we're certainly in favor of that. I would recommend the board endorse the plan to bring the Scripps spelling bee back to Moore County Schools beginning next school year. So we're certainly open to any additional questions and discussion the board may need. Thank you.
Okay. Any discussion, or is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All
This-
those,
Hold on, this is so exciting. We need the spelling bee.
Yes.
That's all I've got.
the kids need to know that spelling is not just a computer program. So, anyway, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Okay, the next one has to do with the salute to the North Carolina flag. Am I going to turn that over to you, Philip?
Yes, thank you, sir. So at our last work session, we brought up the possibility of saluting the North Carolina flag. North Carolina is one of 17 states that has a salute to the North Carolina flag. And our salute is 17 words long. And I think there's some value somewhere having it incorporated somewhere in our education system. I'm not saying you know, every class has to have a flag and salute it and all that. But I think somewhere in our school system that we need to have a flag. We're supposed to have flags from our representative, but that hasn't happened yet. But I think North Carolina is a great state, and I think that we need to have pride in our state. And 17 simple words, I think holds value.
Okay. Other comments? Okay. Oh, you wanted to say something?
Do we have North Carolina flag? I mean, just a logistical issue. Let's say this passes. Is it traditionally given? I mean, do you face the North Carolina flag?
Yes,
When you
it's-
salute it?
Right. So can we do this without flags in the classroom?
I do have one suggestion, not to interrupt you. And it's only a suggestion because it only just came to me now. I'm not necessarily for it or against it. We could start with our board meetings. And that could be one way to deal with that salute initially. I don't know how other people feel about that.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, you go. Oh, sorry.
Mr. Chairman, just wanted to note, after reflecting on the discussion from the board, just wanted to note that I think this fits very well into our fourth grade and eighth grade social studies curriculum with the study of North Carolina history. You can see from my recommendation that I would just recommend that to make sure that it's incorporated, endorse a plan, ensure that our students learn about the North Carolina state flag and its salute when studying North Carolina history in fourth and eighth grades, to make sure that's brought to their attention and it's incorporated in the curriculum in a meaningful way. And we could look logistically on making sure we get, we have the flags that are in each classroom of the United States flag. We could do the same with the North Carolina flag. And we could put together pricing for that, do some research, and make sure the board's informed of that.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, and I was just, I support what the superintendent just recommends there, but as far as like having every school and every classroom recite it every morning is just, to me, is just too much. So I support what you have there, but I wouldn't support it if we were to do it.
Yeah, I'm not so very sure. We could ask our military kids from California to recite such a pledge, but I think it's important as our educational, as a part of our curriculum, including learning about the Halifax Resolves and the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence, which, by the way, are those two dates on the flag. Dr. Locklear, could you bring us
I think we have a
back-
volunteer teacher of that particular subject.
Yes. Dr. Locklear, could you bring us back for our next session, a motion or a recommendation?
He does.
Along the lines that you just made?
He has it right there.
It is.
Yes, sir.
It is, exactly.
Yes,
what you
sir.
said.
You want to make that motion?
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, someone else?
Just offer that for the board to consider. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. So I make a motion to endorse a plan to ensure that students learn about the North Carolina state flag and its salute, and when studying North Carolina history in fourth and eighth grades.
I second it.
further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
So, Rich, the superintendent's proposals.
Yes, the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, board members. Just have a few things to highlight for the board and our public this evening. You know, the month of February and going into March, there's a lot of appreciation days and a lot of appreciation events, and I just want to highlight a couple of those that we celebrated over the last several weeks. The first is our February Love the School Bus Month. And I tell you what, we're passionate about how much we appreciate our school bus drivers. Our transportation team, there's a lot of challenges that they confront on a daily basis, but we're so fortunate to have great bus drivers and a transportation team that supports them, that gets our students to and from school every day safely, ready to learn. So just want to tip our hat and thank them again in any way that we can. Also want to note that March 3rd, last week, was Maintenance Worker Appreciation Day. Our maintenance team completes thousands of hours and thousands of work orders each year, and they really, truly, literally keep our school system moving and working, our school buildings working. We're so fortunate to have the skilled workers that we have on our maintenance team. So I want to share my appreciation for them. And last week also was National School Social Worker Appreciation Week, and our social workers work with our families, our students who may be in crisis, who support the great attendance, and we appreciate their work on a daily basis. I also want to share another celebration. You may recall in the fall that our Director for Technology, Ken Eklund, was recognized as the Region 4 Technology Director of the Year. I had the opportunity last week to celebrate him at a statewide meeting. We're fortunate to have Kent and appreciate his service to our students and staff, and just want to again say congratulations to Kent. March also brings us the opportunity to celebrate the arts, as Mr. Levy mentioned earlier this evening, and that great Soleil, West Pine Elementary Soleil we saw. We're currently celebrating the visual arts through the 27th Young People's Fine Arts Festival at Campbell House. That's always one of my favorite date nights for my wife and I, to go to the opening of that event at the Campbell House. If you haven't had a chance to see the incredible artwork K-12 represented from our schools, please do that. It'll be open through March 29th. Also, this season of March brings us, so we call it the spring musical season. We have elementary, middle schools, and high schools that have their spring musicals. Our high schools are always kind of the capstone events. Last week, Union Pines High School, their production was Hello Dolly. It was an incredible production, had a lot of fun at that, incredible talent. This Friday, Pinecrest High School will be putting on Freaky Friday as their musical. So I look forward to that. Going to be a great time. And then Northmore High School the week after that, SpongeBob the Musical. So that one sounds interesting, doesn't it? So we're going to have a good time. Incredible, talented kids we have in our school district doing incredible work. Also, Ms. Purvis, as we heard from earlier tonight, we're having, she's leading our community input series that we're having in March. The focus of that series that we're meeting with our community out in our 3 different areas of our county is about transportation. Giving an overview of some of the problems and challenges, some of the things that our transportation team is doing, and then getting feedback from the community. We met last week at Robbins. We're meeting tomorrow evening at New Century Middle School, and then on March 22nd at Southern Middle School. So we invite our public to come out. If you couldn't make the meeting in Robbins, you're welcome to attend any of the other 2 meetings. So, Mr. Chairman, appreciate the opportunity to share those highlights.
Thank you very much. And we're now down to board comments. Mr. Benway.
Yes, sir. We bring that up?
Yes.
Okay, a couple of topics today. First one is career and technical education. That's the CTE program, which is a gem in the Moore County school system, believe me. It strikes.
She's gonna help. You're gonna get some help from Heather.
We're gonna reboot?
No, go ahead.
We're not getting it. There we go. Oop, it disappeared. I probably just should have taken a couple of notes and done this.
Thank you, Heather, for filling in tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. To start off with, take a look at an extract of the Moore County Schools mission statement, in part for the career and technical education program. Provide offerings that meet student needs, interests, abilities, aspirations, and respond to actual or anticipated 21st century opportunities for employment, advanced education, and practical life application. In short, for us guys, we're just using 2 syllables all the time, or graduating students with marketable skills for lifelong success. And that program certainly holds that great potential. Here are just some of the offerings. Automotive, carpentry, agricultural, construction, electronics, welding, programming, culinary arts, marketing, and also poised to engage emerging technology and industries. That's particularly important as technology and industries emerge on our northwest periphery. We had our first committee meeting, CTE committee meeting, on the 14th of February, And we had it down at Union Pines, trying to sort out our organization. We have two private individuals on the board. One is the former vice president of roadway trucking. The other is currently a county commissioner who also used to build race cars. So he's pretty into that. We've got another person who's an electrical engineer who's very interested in coming in. He used to teach Voc Tech, electronics, et cetera, and he's really interested in seeing what we're doing here. So this is a growing in interest, certainly. We've got a CTE meeting tomorrow morning on the 14th of March from 9 to 11 a.m. You're all invited. We'd love to have you come in and sit in and contribute. And we'll be conducting that at North Moore High School up there in Robbins. And we're going to take a look at some more mission analysis, and we're going to tour the school's CTE programs. Second item, we have ongoing board member visits to Moore County elementary schools. That's the focus of these visits. We kind of looking at mission priorities, good order and discipline especially, school improvement plans, operations, and the cafeteria. We also eat there. And we do a tour of facilities, walking tour of facilities with the principal. Those have been very well received. We've gotten a great deal of good information from those things, well worth doing. We shoot for 1 to 2 schools per week at the elementary school level. Our next one coming up, Pauline and I are going to Pinehurst Elementary School on Thursday. We've completed Lakeview, Vass, Cameron, McDeegs Creek, Carthage, and Farm Life schools so far. And we'll be working our way up this way before long. Kind of first impressions. When you take a look at the entirety of the Moore County Schools endeavor, it's really an enterprise. This is a complicated operation with lots of moving parts, all hopefully focused on student success and excellence. You see immediately that the principal is a leadership driver for school success. There's no question there. Especially successful are those principals who can get parents engaged in this whole process. There's 3 elements to learning: student, teacher, and parent. And where all those 3 things come together, very good things happen. And as I say, we have many good things happening. I was particularly impressed with the exceptional children's programs you got throughout the school system here. You've got some absolute walking saints running those classrooms. Great stuff. And we've seen faculty and supporting staff seriousness of purpose wherever we go. These are real professionals who know their jobs, and they're dedicated to performing to the best of their ability. And I can't overemphasize enough the importance of elementary school as a launch pad into the rest of their academic careers. So I'm really interested in the elementary school process and how we can optimize teaching to maximize learning. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Caldwell.
I don't have a presentation.
No, that's just fine.
Wah, wah. Sorry. I do want to say thank you to Ms. Proctor's class at Vass Lakeview for letting me come and read to them. I had a blast. It was kindergarten, and they are just divine. I really enjoyed it, and it just makes me miss teaching, for sure. I also want to have a heartfelt shout out to Cranes Creek Middle School. Sorry. We keep getting knocked down, but we keep getting knocked down, but we keep getting back up. And I just want to say thank you for all the teachers, the staff, everyone out there. You guys are doing an amazing job, whether you know it or not. You show up, and that means a lot to those kids. So thank you very much for all that you do. I support you 110%. And I know we will continue to excel there. So thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bruno.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending and for showing interest in our schools and in our children. First of all, I'm thrilled about the spelling bee. I think that this is a great idea, and it's certainly going to enhance the education and the learning of our students. And I really want to thank all the teaching staff, the coaches, the maintenance workers, our principals, our bus drivers, whom I have visited over the past month, Ken and I, for being so welcoming. I'm so proud of you for all the outstanding job you're doing. I see everybody in action, and I'm amazed at what everyone is doing. And I'm so proud to sit on this board because of all of Moore County. Visiting our exceptional children's program is the greatest thrill of all for me. That's where I belong, and I love it. Reading improvement across every grade level is at my heart, and that's my greatest concern. And our curriculum committee is really going to work on that. I want to thank the staff here for all the work that they did for setting up this meeting, and you are really appreciated. And I really want to thank our entertainment tonight.
Yeah,
that was just wonderful. It was awesome. But I want the public to know that the members of this board are really trying. We're working, we're trying to work with the community. And what's being written about us, it's just not true. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Holmes?
I really don't have anything. Thank you, Gary, for everything that you do.
Yay, Gary.
Mr. Hensley?
I have a couple things. First of all, Principal Beavers and your team here at West Pines Elementary, thank you very much. This was a great facility. We enjoyed being here. I know there's a bit of work, but it's good to carry the flag around and see all the schools. Superintendent Locklear talked about all of the upcoming musicals and all, and one thing I want to point out, I got to get one thing straight. Locally funded is K through 8 arts and music, right? And the state picks up the
K-5.
I'm sorry?
K-5.
K through
K-5 is state
locally-
funded.
K through 5 is
Yes,
state,
and
yeah.
the rest is locally funded,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Yeah, I want to make this point. I want to make sure I get it right because I always mess it up. When you attend, when you see Moore County Schools arts, whether it's fine arts, performing arts, if it's a musical, if it's a band, keep in mind the state only pays for that kindergarten through 5th grade. Our arts, fine and performing arts, 6th through 12th grade, are paid for by the citizens of Moore County, as it should be. Well, really, it should be paid for by the state, but the citizens of Moore County step up and pay for those art programs because it is important, and we cannot forget our fine and performing arts. We'll work with our legislature to get that oversight fixed, but please, I want to thank all the taxpayers of Moore County for, paying for our arts programs because they are important. And finally, I do want to say that, dovetailing with what Ms. Bruno said, this board is 100% focused on 5 things, or at least in my mind, we're focused on 5 things. We're focused on academic excellence, operational excellence, fiscal responsibility, parental rights, and transparency. By God, when we said we're going to deliver academic excellence, operational excellence, and fiscal responsibility, we meant it, and we work at it every single day, as does Dr. Locklear and his team. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hensley. I wanted to thank everyone here for enduring my voice. It's a bit squeaky, but so I'm told it should improve. I want to thank the board once again, and everyone who gave me their prayers and who were so wonderful to me while I was ill. As you can tell, I'm not quite 100% there, but day by day, we'll get better and better. Thank you very, very much, Principal Beavers, for this really fine venue. And thanks to our board, I think one of the things you're going to see, just from these last comments, is that each member of our board has a different central interest. And when we come together, we solve many more problems than you would get from a single focus board. So I hope when we disagree, people will understand that when we disagree on behalf of diversity and on behalf of our children. Because in the end, each and every single member of our board is dedicated to our students. Thank you very much. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Let's go.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? We're adjourned.
You didn't say opposed.